Hello everyone, welcome to a late night Saris video. Apologies, I've been away for a while, which I feel like I've been saying a lot recently, but in truth, a lot of life events have been going on. I'm attending a wedding tomorrow, but I wanted to bring you this short video on something that I felt passionately about for quite some time. So obviously there's been a ton of Doctor Who news doing the rounds, and I'll cover that in more depth in an upcoming live stream, but something I specifically wanted to focus on today was Russell T Davies confirming that the Master is parked for the foreseeable future in this era. The Master's not coming back, and it's time to start fresh. And let me tell you, this is music to my ears as someone who's been advocating for a Master rest for some time. In fact, I've even gone as far as to say that maybe the Master should be retired as a character. And my fundamental reason for believing that is gone over really well in my video on it, which I'll leave in a pinned card in the corner. But to summarise, I kind of feel like everything you can do with the Master at this point has been done. The Master specifically existed originally to be an evil foil to the Doctor. Plain and simple, that's what they were. A Bond villain, a Moriarty type figure. As the revival came along and the Doctor became more morally dubious, that kind of began to shift. So you had things like John Sim, where he's kind of a tragic character, insane, but also that's due to the Time Lord's interference. And then with Missy, you get the eventual redemption of the character. And then with Sacha Dhawan, you get the reversal of that, the relapse, if you will. So I kind of feel like everything you can do with that character has been done. So for me, I've kind of been of the opinion that the Master needs a break at the very least. So to hear this, I'm very, very pleased by. And yeah, above anything else, I'm just a bit sick of seeing the Master everywhere. There are other villains you can use that aren't the Master, other Time Lord villains, other just humanoid villains that are cool in general. I was rewatching Amy's Choice today, and the Dream Lord is like a fantastic example of a character or of a concept that's kind of Master-esque, but is also its own thing. The Toymaker is another example of that. So yeah, let's just get right into this. I want to go over what Russell actually said in depth. Subscribe if you're new, that would be greatly appreciated, and let's just get right into it. So Doctor Who showrunner confirms the Master is parked, time to start again. And there's actually a full video of him saying this. This was at the Doctor Who premiere, which I'll cover along with all the other news that I missed in an upcoming live stream. But let's just go into what he said here.
I'm so excited for Jinx Monsoon in The Devil's Chord.
You're going to see that tonight, yes.
Maestro,
yes.
the god of music. Has that got anything to do with the Master, or are you giving him a break?
No, it's nothing to do with the Master.
So yeah, for context, there was a lot of speculation that the Maestro, the character in The Devil's Chord, would be the Master, because Maestro and Master, it basically is the same word in a different language, but Russell here is confirming that that's not the case.
Well, that might be a spoiler for tonight, but no, it's a completely different sort of pantheon of gods that we've introduced. I did think when I named him Maestro that, there was the chance that might overlap, but it causes a bit of speculation, which is fun. But the Master's kind of parked for the moment. There's been a lot of the Master recently, so it's time to start again and have a fresh start to the show. Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically it. That's basically all he says, and yeah, it's pretty much music to my ears. Look, I don't dislike the Master as a character, quite the contrary. I've loved a lot of Master stories, but I do think there is a limit to that concept of character, that type of character, that character that is the evil foil to the protagonist, which at its core is what the Master represents. And yes, there's been some incredible expansions on that concept in the revival, but I feel like we've reached our apex, we've reached our limit. I frankly think Missy was kind of the best way the Master could go out with their redemption, and I mean, as much as I've enjoyed the performance of Sacha Dhawan in several stories, and I do think he's a great Master, even though the writing for me doesn't always hold up, I am of the opinion that he doesn't really do much that the Master hasn't done. You could argue the self-loathing is the aspect that he brings that is different, but I mean, that's always kind of been an undercurrent of the Master anyway. He's always seen himself as inferior to the Doctor, and kind of felt that he had to prove himself as the better Time Lord, the more worthy man. And that's good, but it's done now. Do you know what I'm saying? We've done it. We've been there, bought the t-shirt. And as I was saying earlier, there are other characters that can fulfill that role as well. I was watching Amy's Choice earlier today, and characters like the Dream Lord fulfill that purpose of the Dark Doctor well, whilst also bringing something else. The Toymaker also represents this fine. So I'm perfectly happy and content with the idea of the Master having a break. I know that some people really like the Master and like them to show up with every incarnation, but to be honest with you, One of my favourite eras of the revival is the Smith era, and I think one of the reasons that feels so fresh, by contrast to some of the other eras, is because of the absence of the Master. It led them to be a bit more creative with some of the villains that Doctor faced. Again, the Dream Lord, the Silence, characters like that. And I appreciated that. Obviously, not all of them were great. Not all of them stood up to, the Master himself. But still, I like the idea of doing something new, and I'm fully on board with this. I have been for quite some time. As I say, this is absolutely no hate towards the Master as a character. Quite the contrary. I enjoy the Master. The only thing I really have against them is how much they upstage my boys, the Cybermen. I mean, when was the last time they had a story to themselves where they weren't being babysat by the Master? But I digress. That's a whole other thing that I dislike. The other thing I'm seeing as a response to this is, well, what was the tooth? And I believe Russell says in the Giggle commentary that the tooth is more of a tongue-in-cheek reference to Series 3 than anything else. So I wasn't really expecting that to be a huge deal anyway. And I mean, it's possible he could bring it back for his final series. I mean, I'd be happy after like a 3-4 series break minimum, if then they wanted to bring back the Master for Shooty's final season so that people can say, oh, well, he's faced the Master now, just so they can take it off their list. I've also seen people say, oh, well, he could be lying, but in this case, I'm inclined to believe him for the simple fact that ever since Shooty was cast, he's been putting an emphasis on new villains, new monsters, and stuff like that. So I fully believe that it's plausible for him to give the Master a break for a few series. And I am more than happy with that. But yeah, I'm happy with this. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.